אני מקשר עצמי לכל הדגים אמיתיים שבנוחות הדגים אמיתיים שוכנע אפר קדושים יש עצמם Rabeinu Hakadosh צדיק יסוד עולם נחן ובן כל חוכמה רבי נחמן בן פייגן נחמן ממומן זכות אל תגן אלינו משעמם. Okay, just so you know. Maybe the first time you heard that, yeah. It's אני מקשר, you know? חזק.
רבי נחמן בן פייגן.
It's a song?
Yeah, and that's Rebbe Nathan repress live.
That's legit. Never heard of this.
Yeah.
Wow. You gotta send that to me.
Cool. Right.
So, this week's parasha, the sin of the Meraglim, and Rabbi Nathan's gonna go very deep. We're gonna try to derive a few practical ideas from this. And what?
That one is on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. But this one we're gonna do a little differently. This one we're gonna read inside, and we're gonna go very much into what Rabbi Nathan says, which is very, very high and lofty. He describes a little bit from the Arizal, he describes pieces from everywhere, the teaching of Rabbi Nachman, and he goes very deep into what the sin of the Meraglim was. And he's going to describe how grave it was, and how to repair it. So we're actually going to take a different take, because not a lot of people speak about this. In fact, I don't think anyone except for Rabbi Nathan and Rabbi Nachman speak about this idea specifically. Yeah. In this context, meaning what they do. Everyone else interprets it differently. He brings the Zohar Hakadosh. We're going to see everything. And if you guys got questions, obviously, ideas, shoot, cut me off. That's the point. Does anyone have a refuah shlema they want to do it for? Yossi ben Sarah? Yaakov ben? Chorashi?
David ben Lida.
David ben?
Lida.
Shlomo? Ben Chasiba? Yosef ben Mazal? Yaakov ben Berta? Moshe Rabeinu ניסים בן קמיר? יאמר וסעד אנתם מדקרים וכל חולים עמו ישראל אינה רפאנו להם אינה רפאנו להם זכות צדיק.
That was in last week's parasha, no?
Yeah.
Allah Rafana was last week's parasha.
זכות צדיקים שהשם יתברך תגן בעדיהם אמן כי רצון.
Amen.
In what context was it again?
I think healing Miriam, yeah.
עלינו נשמעת אנשים בן מסוד קרא אוני בן משה אלי בן שמחה רובי בת אסתר נוח עדין בן חיה רחל חיה בת נתנאל לעילוי נשמת. רשב בת חביב.
Is it anyone's name?
Yeah, anyone who passed away.
Chanoch ben Abraham.
חנוך בן אברהם. תהיה נשמתם צורה בצחור החיים. Amen. Okay, so let's see what Rabbi Nathan says, because it's going to be it's a longer one, but I'll tell you it's very deep. So let's get into it. ויוציאו דיבת הארץ אשר תראו אותה, and this is what it says in the Torah, that the word of the land went out, and the land that they basically spied over, that they spoke Lashon Hara over this land. Now Rabbi Nathan is going to go into exactly what is the context of this pasuk. עיקר חטא המרגלים היה שפגמו בארץ ישראל והוציאו דיבה על הארץ. The essence, the real sin of the Meraglim was that they blemished the land of Israel, and what happened? They spoke badly against it. ואיתה בחית והאריזל, and it's brought in the writings of the Ari Hakadosh, שנשמת המרגלים, that the neshamot of the Meraglim, the souls from where the Meraglim originated from, ודור המדבר, and the generation of the desert, היו גבוהים מבחינת ארץ ישראל. They were so high, they were at the level of ארץ ישראל. Come to show you. כי היו מבחינת לאה וכו'. As is brought in the Kitvei Ari, it's from the level of what we call the Partsuf of Leah. This is a little complicated. It has to do with the Sfirot and the Partsufim and all these upper worlds and levels and souls. We're not going to get into it, but just know that there's two levels of the divine presence. It's Rachel and Leah. And Leah is the highest aspect. That's why it's funny. Yaakov, he hated Leah, it says. Or Leah was hated, right? And Leah was Sinua, right? According to the Torah. And what's funny, Yaakov was with Leah before. Leah and Rachel represent two different things. Leah is Alma de Idkasia, I think. It's like the world that is hidden. You don't see it. What did that correspond to? Tfilah. Rachel corresponds to Torah Shebal Peh. Beautiful thing is that people today, what do we tend to favor? Everyone favors Torah Shebal Peh. Everyone's there to study Gemara. Everyone's here to study all the time. But what do people always step on? They always disgrace Tfilah. And Rabbi Nachman says the highest level is Tfilah. So Leah was even higher than Rachel, spiritually speaking, in the positioning of the upper worlds. Just to come to show you that Yaakov ended up liking Leah after and loving her in a way because he began to appreciate the aspect of tefillah. Whereas Rachel, everyone appreciates. Just an extra idea. What?
She did.
Yeah. Tefillah, Torah, tefillah. Ah, chazak. Rabbi Nachman always says, pray, study, pray. Which means Leah comes before Rachel. You never study without praying first. So you see what we just did there? We did a little harenim mekasher, tefillah. And now we enter into the limud. And b'schut koach of the tzaddik, with the help of the tzaddik, we're going to try to understand his works. Zat Hashem. Koach of Hashem. So, let's see what he says. The Meraglim, they were so high, their neshamot were so high, they came from the aspect of Eretz Yisrael, which is this aspect of Leah. And because of their level and soul, they weren't able to enter Eretz Yisrael. It was already destined. Now the Arizal goes into explaining the specifics behind this, the technicalities.
They couldn't do mundane activity.
What?
The
Meraglim?
The door of the midbar.
Wow.
They were everything they did was spiritual. Their food was, they didn't make food, it was spiritually given to them.
It's amazing.
They didn't have to build a physical roof over their head. They had the ananei hakavod. Their water, their water was, it was
totally
100% dependent on
wow, amazing. So we can see that here. It's funny. So it was already destined that they couldn't enter. Now the Arizal goes into it. We're not going to try to explain it because I personally don't know it. So we move on. Ayen Sham, and Rebbe Nathan says go look over there if you want to get a better understanding of what I'm about to speak about. But we'll move on. And like, yeah. Tell me.
I don't know.
So it's like basically like, in essence, there's a big question here. It's already a question. Because of the fact that they were so high at the level of Eretz Yisrael, right? And because of that they weren't able to enter. If that's the case, why is it that Hashem gets so mad at them and begin to speak about their sin and everything if they weren't able to enter? And not only that, he tells them you're not allowed to enter. But if we already see, according to the Rabeinu Hakadosh, that their souls were already high enough that they couldn't enter, then what's Hashem saying? I'm getting mad at you, and now you guys can't enter. The entire generation is going to die in the desert, if it was already destined. I mean, that's asking a brilliant question.
So something that I actually learned today is part of one of the reasons why Hashem got so upset was, like what I said earlier, that the Jews, when we left Har Sinai, we were very excited to go. Why? Because we were there for basically a year, and all we were doing, we were on a very, very intense madrega of just learning the Halachot, just learning. We didn't do anything else, and it becomes like a huge pressure. And like I said, the Rabbanim compared to a kid who's in school, and right when the bell rings, he's out, he runs away. What does that mean? In life, like one of the relationships that we have with God is like a parent and a child. We know, growing up, sometimes our parents are telling us something, and even though we know they're right and we know what they're saying is for our own benefit, we get upset at them and do the opposite, when in fact they want us to be however they want, like, to see us, for our own good. So I don't know if that's the answer, but Hashem expected us, I think, He expected us to see the hardship in it and see the difficulty, but still have the bitachon to say, no, it doesn't matter. We're still gonna do. I think he was more disappointed.
Wow. I'm sure that's definitely one of the reasons.
Well, I'm not saying that's the reason, but I'm saying
that's
it's
amazing.
Like your parent tells you, go to sleep at 9:30. Go to sleep at 9. Don't watch TV. You're not gonna be able to fall asleep. We get so upset, and we purposely, because they tell us to go to sleep, it even encourages us even more to stay up.
It's funny. It's a good point. And we think we know better, but that's actually, it's funny. I mean, Nathan's gonna go into this idea of what we do and we think we know better. He's gonna explain it a little on that idea, on that concept, but very well said. So brilliant question here. Why is Hashem getting angry at them and cursing them or with telling them that they can't enter if they already weren't allowed to? As we were saying earlier. Know that the essence of the sin of the meraglim was because of one thing. They blemished the aspect of the tzaddik. They blemished the concept of the tzaddik. We're going to
because they were supposed to be tzaddikim. They were like
That's an idea, but he's going to explain something. There's tzaddikim and there's the tzaddik. Tzaddik is tzaddik Yisrael.
Yeah.
There's the tzaddik at the level of Moshe Rabeinu.
Yeah.
Those are 5. That's like Moshe Rabeinu himself. That's Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rashbi. That's Rabeinu Hakadosh.
Rabbi Akiva, no?
Baal Shem Tov. No, but Rabbi Akiva was there, but not at the level of Rabbi Shimon. And then Rabbi Nachman is the final one. At the level of Moshe Rabeinu, we're talking about. One of the people who never sinned from the tree, who never tasted from the tree. One of the Neshemot. There's 5.
It's a dot?
Yeah. Meaning Adam had all the souls in him, and they left the body before he could commit the sin. So it's a pure Torah, what we're talking about. Right here, it's completely pure without any psolet whatsoever. Because even the Gemara has aspects of Kedusha v'Tahara. There's different places. It's like the aspect of the 6 days of the week, the Gemara.
Yeah.
Torah Sheba'al Peh. It's you can't do this, you can't do this. Or, but this Torah is Torah Aleph. It's a Torah that's originated before it's a Torah that's so high, it's at the aspect of not Bereshit, it's at the aspect of like Aleph. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, which is even above the aspect of the letter Bet.
Which is
Before the sin.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This is what we're speaking about. So this is the root of actually what happened. Rebbe Nathan's going into it. So what happened? They blemished the aspect of the tzaddik, the concept of the tzaddik. Because what's the tzaddik's entire purpose? To bind together all the worlds, and all the levels, above and below.
How many are there?
What? 4 worlds, we say? There's a 5th one we don't really talk about, at the level of like the highest one.
Yeah.
But there's 4 worlds, and there's different inanim here, yeah. So he talks about the world and
Yes. 4.
Yeah. What's that?
The 4 levels of Torah.
Pshat, Chazak, exactly. It's all connected. Yud K, Vav K also.
Pshat, simple, like what you read is what you see. Remez, like there's a hint. There's Drash, which is like Midrash, and then there's Sod.
Like the Kabbalah, the Zohar, The 5th world is a world called Adam Kadmon. Now this world we don't speak about because it's at the level of Keter. But I'll tell you something. Rabbi Nachman Torah comes from there. It's a level that is, there's Atzilut, which is the level at the level of Chokhmah. Rabbi Nachman said he got his Torah from a level called Atikas Timaa. It's a Torah of the Mashiach, which comes from the level that is at the level of Keter.
The Meira, what is it called?
It's called Torah Me'atikas Timaa. It's the hidden ancient one. It said in the Gemara that Atik Yomin, that the aspect of Atik Yomin, the ancient of days, covered up things.
Covered what?
Covered up. Rabbi Nachman said, I'm beginning to reveal the things which Atik Yomin covered up. That's in essence of God at the level of Keter, meaning the highest perception of Hashem. You know how it is? See you, bro. No, don't worry. It's my fault. I came late.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem, we'll run it back. Bezrat Hashem, all the best. Pardes.
With Acher.
Pardes.
No, it means field.
It's a different writing, but
Yeah.
it's
That's
a
a crazy
amazing
story.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But it's all discussing these deep concepts. But what's the tzaddik's entire purpose? To draw together the lowest aspects, which is us in this world, the animals, the whatever it is, and to draw them up to the highest worlds. Because what's the point of this world? It's not to serve Hashem directly from the highest point. It's to serve Hashem from the darkest places. That's what Rabeinu's entire Torah is about. In the darkest of places, you'll find Hashem. That's why Rabeinu's Torah speaks to everyone, because no matter how far you go, there's always this concept of there's always this concept that there's no such thing as giving up, like Rabbi Nachman said. Because even if you fall to the lowest place, you do the worst sin in the entire Torah, you go over the Torah 1,000 times, there's always this idea that you should never give up. Because once you give up everything. You draw your lifeline completely, you cut it off. But once you believe there's hope, understand that there is there's a way back. Because Rabbi Nachman said, Im ta'amin she'yocholim lekalkel, ta'amin she'yocholim letaken. If you believe that you can break, believe you can fix. That's what? Yeah, exactly. Azamra, it's always exactly. You have to do it on yourself, you always have to judge yourself positively. because that's how to do tshuva. It's not the dark way around where. Appreciate it, bro. I'm good. Because through the tzaddik comes the reparation of all the entire worlds, all the worlds above and below. That what? It's for this reason, the tzaddik, that the world was created. And not only that, for the reason what the tzaddik does, which is the idea to draw everything low and high together. That's why the world was created. And we know tzaddik yesod olam, tzaddik is the foundation of the world, meaning the world cannot be created without a tzaddik. God tried to create the world many times before this, but they were all destroyed. Why? Because they didn't have the concept of tzaddik. וזאת הבחינה בתכלית השלמות והתיקון אין זוכין כי אם בארץ ישראל, כי שם בארץ ישראל עומד ירושלים בבית המקדש, כי שם בבית המקדש היה בחינת עליונים למטה ותחתונים למעלה. He's saying this essence of drawing the lowest aspects and the highest aspects together is only complete in where? In Eretz Yisrael, and specifically where? In the Beit HaMikdash. Why? Because in the Beit HaMikdash is the place where you draw the lowest aspects and the highest aspects together. What did that mean? כי שם בבית המקדש הוא שער שמיים. What did it say in the Torah? The Beit HaMikdash is what? זה שער השמיים. This is the gate of the heavens. שעל ידו מתכחשים תחתונים ועליונים. No, כמו שכתוב וזה שער השמיים, היינו ששם השער שעל ידו, meaning the Beit HaMikdash is the gate through which what? מתכחשים תחתונים, the lower aspects, the lower creations, ובעליונים, מתכחשים תחתונים בעליונים. The lower creations can touch and can be connected to the highest aspects. Yeah, what's up?
It's like in what's it called, likutei Halachot, in the first chapter, it talks about how I was looking to it talks about how you gotta find a good point of yourself, and the korban in the Beit HaMikdash, the reason why it sends or something, the reason why it exists is because it finds a good point in itself. It includes like a bad thing in itself. Right?
Oh, the likutei.
Yeah, likutei, right? Then the point is like it's quote unquote finding the good in itself.
Wow.
Rebbe
Rebbe Nathan.
Yeah.
Ari's studying it also. Like,
What?
it's azamra. The Torah is an aspect of azamra. It's like the bad spice in it, you're supposed to incorporate within the good. It's like this aspect of, it said in the Gemara, tzibur is a play on the words, tzaddik, benoni, verasha. Meaning an entire congregation, a minyan, is not complete when you don't have a rasha in there. You're supposed to have a rasha in the minyan. Because that's whenever it's complete, meaning you're drawing the lowest aspects and the highest together. I speak up so that...
Let's say, when stay up till 5:30 whatever, and that's when you shouldn't say, oh, so good. Even if I'm the Hashan and I'm the one who competes them in that, you think yourself like, okay, I'm the Hashan, but I'm competing in this. So like, that's one way to look at it.
It's funny. Rabeinu says exactly that.
I know, that's where I got her from.
It's amazing.
That's like the purest form of the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara isn't the person telling you to do something bad. It's the person telling you to think inside you, telling you to think that you're gonna be doing something good. Like whenever you don't wake up from minyan, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna sleep a little more so I can have more kavana when I'm davening by myself. I'm not gonna go to minyan. I'm not gonna be tired at minyan. No, that's the Rasha telling you. That's the Yetzer Hara telling you.
Wow. That's amazing. It's funny, yeah. So it's exactly that, Ali. You have to understand that you are the Ktoret. You're the bad smelling spice in the Ktoret. And once you understand that, you have to understand there's no korban without you. You're the most necessary part. How insane is that? And that's what? Eretz v'shamayim. You connect the Eretz, the land, and the Shamayim together. That's the entire purpose of this world. To connect the lowest and the highest. Ki katav Rabeinu Zal b'siman ayin bet.
Literally, they couldn't work the land.
What? On the Shemitah?
That's what I'm saying. That's what they had to do. And so once you go to Eretz Yisrael, there's halachot of literally of land. Shemitah, bikurim, leaving some of for the poor.
Yeah.
There's halachot in like Parashat Shoftim about how you're supposed to set up a city. Literally like the mundane, which is exactly
That's the point.
They
It's
couldn't do it.
amazing. It's all about the action, you know. It's not about the setting aside time to study. It's all about who you are as a person. Because a person can study Torah as much as he wants, but if his actions are bad, he's no
You know
one.
what we spoke about last week?
Tell, explain.
I forgot.
Yeah,
About that?
We said that when you go to Shemayim, they asked you, were you fair in business, and did you set time for learning, and did you wait for Mashiach? Did you await Mashiach?
Wow.
First question was the business.
It's amazing.
Every day the mundane.
Olam Asiyah, too.
What up? Yeah, the world of action. The lowest world of the four spiritual worlds is Asiya, and we're in Asiya. It's very clear, you know. You don't need more than that. So what does Rabeinu say in lesson 72 of likutei that to the Yetzer Hara, a massive Yetzer Hara, when it comes to coming close to Hashem. Maybe the nation, what did it say in the Torah? Whenever Hashem created the boundary around the Har Sinai, it said maybe they wanted to breach the boundary and to go up to Har Sinai. That's why they put a fence. What is this? What's the man's tava in this world? Forget the tavot of this world, women, money, this, that. Whenever you're in the Kedusha, what's the real tava? Only to be in the Kedusha. It's very hard to find balance with the mundane things and to be in Kedusha. So what does Rabeinu Nachman say? What's the hard thing? They only want to run. Meaning they only want to be close to Hashem in the Shamayim. But they forgot about the Aretz, they forgot about this land, they forgot about the world. ולעלות תמיד בעלייה לבד בלי הפסק ואינו רוצה להוריד עצמו כלל למדרגות התחתונות לעבוד את השם בתמימות ולהגביה ולקרב כל המדרגות התחתונות להשם יתברך. What was the blemish? What's the idea? What's the big Yetzer Hara? The Yetzer Hara wants to push you always further so that you forget to actually act in this world, to be real. And what's he saying? Sometimes people just want to run constantly and ascend constantly without any break, and they don't want to lower themselves כלל at all למדרגות התחתונות, to the lower levels, to serve Hashem with simplicity. And to raise and to come close to Hashem, all the levels that are below, and bring them close to Hashem. Because that's the real avodat Hashem. It's very easy to sit down in yeshiva studying all day once you build that muscle. But it's very hard to be able to work and to go around and to try to build people, emunah, and to be in the world, the real world, and you know what I mean? We're surrounded by the Torah, by the army of Paro, and there to serve Hashem. Because Rabeinu Nachman says the ikar of serving Hashem is from the furthest place. That's where Hashem's greatest honor is. So that's why Rabeinu Nachman translates everything differently. He says, right, there's a person that wants to go down to impurity. Hashem makes for him many doors, many openings. He opens the door for him. But Rabeinu Nachman says, if there's many openings to go down there, read it the opposite about out. There's many openings to get up. Meaning even when you're down there, there's always ways out of there. And not only that, Rabeinu says the fall is for the purpose of the ascent. Meaning once you're down there, it's actually only to ascend. It's
Kinafati kamti.
Kinafati kamti, exactly. You can't get up without falling first. And to ascend levels, you actually have to fall. So Hashem, what's Rabeinu saying? Like the real sod behind it is that the purpose of the ascent, the purpose of to study all day in yeshiva is actually to fall. Whenever you're outside of yeshiva, how are you going to react? So you know, like those people, they end up in yeshiva. We're speaking about us, especially our age. They get out of yeshiva, immediately they're flustered. They don't know how to act.
Closed doors.
Exactly.
Or you can put on an act and wear whatever hat, like Shelach hat, and beard, and what do you really do behind it? It's really, when you actually mean it, those are just for sure.
Totally. How are you going to react whenever the world is filled with it? When you're in a place filled with tavot, you're in a place filled with the most disgusting things, and how are you going to act here? And that's the real avodat Hashem. Working is also an avodat Hashem, to work and to serve Hashem bitmimut, with simplicity, to raise all the things that you do in your work. You know, the levels.
The Gemara says what's avodah? Tefillah.
Yeah. Tefillah is everything.
Everything they didn't have to pray for anything. Think about it. They didn't have to pray for mom. Hashem just gave it to them.
Moshe Rabeinu did all the praying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, but
They screamed to Moshe, and Moshe screamed to Hashem.
yeah, so they were starving, right?
Yeah, they were.
The kid took us out here to die. Right?
That was an essence.
But
of
in
prayer.
Mitzrayim, they prayed to Hashem.
That was the one. What do you call it? That was it said Vanitzak el Hashem, right? They screamed out to Hashem, and Hashem heard their song.
Right.
Which is funny. But it's exactly that. It's exactly that.
Because I feel like that's whenever things get really hard. Whenever things going well in our life, I feel like we don't pray as much as
You think yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever you make a huge business deal, whatever, sometimes you say about Hashem, you pray less than if it were to be that Hashem to put all of someone's money.
Why? You know, Kobe Bryant, Allah Shalom. He says in a documentary one time that he would go and instead of watching replays of like their lost games, he would go watch replays of the games that they won. Why? He's like, yeah, because it's so easy to find out what you did, what went wrong, and to blame when you lose. But when you win, all you're thinking about is the win. Oh, look how good I did here, look how good I did there. But you aren't as diligent to see how you could have improved.
Rabeinu speaks about this in Torah Vav. He speaks about this idea, nothing's new under the sun, right?
Yeah.
Rabeinu speaks in lesson 6 of likutei, when you're feeling high, understand that you're very far from Hashem. When you're feeling low, understand you're very close.
So there's in one I don't know if it's pocket, you have to feel like you're nothing, and in the other pocket, you have to feel as if the whole world was created for you.
Exactly.
So, which is the balance that you're talking about.
Exactly, it's exactly that. So back into it. That's the point. Not just to keep running, because that's the Yetzer Hara. And we see this today very clearly. Especially about being married, by the way. And that's a point I want to get to hit on the nail. A lot of young people say, I'm going to wait to get married. That's because they want to run. They're very, very scared to actually fall. Because once you marry your wife, that's when reality hits you in the face. Rebbe Nathan said, if a parent wants to have mercy on their kid, marry them as quickly as possible. That's the ikar of man. Man in this world has to get married young. And you know what's funny? The system builds exactly opposite. Because you have to get this job and this, and it's all a reality they build in their own mind, which is completely fake and completely sheker. People have to get married young, especially with the tava of the brit, specifically, the desire of the pegama brit and everything. People have to get married young. But that's...
By 20.
By 20.
Or else your bones break.
Gemara says no.
I think, yeah. I think...
Now,
Okay, I've also, right?
The Gemara's
yeah,
18.
Your
18
or your
and then
brain
it's
or your
20,
bones
but now,
break.
I think Mishnah Brura says that 25 for our time now. You have to
Really?
25. I think
That's so
What
funny.
does Rambam says like
18.
18. Yeah.
Rabbi Nachman says Rabbi Nachman was very much on the inyan of getting married as early as possible.
Shmona Esrei, something.
Lechupa.
Lechupa.
But this is very sensitive topics also, because you see people that study Torah all day and they say, I want to wait, I want to study while I have it, and that's the exact opposite of what Rabeinu was explaining here. It's a Yetzer Hara. You want to keep running, you want to keep studying, but you're scared to actually serve Hashem in the darkest place. That's the real avodat Hashem, because women, what? It's the biggest light you can ever have to get married, but it's the inyan of lowering yourself. It's the inyan of lowering yourself to build a vessel and to actually build it even higher. Because without your wife, you're no one. Matzah isha matzah tov. It's in the Torah that when you found a woman, you found good. And no good that if you don't find a woman, right?
Real parnasa.
Shefa, parasha, everything's the woman. The woman's the kli. The woman's the vessel.
Akeret abayit.
Akeret abayit. Chazak. And once you have that, smecha.
Hallelujah.
Exactly. It's once you really marry a wife, that's the shlemut of simcha. Because man on his own studying Torah, it can be besimcha, right? Woman, according to Rabeinu, represents yagon v'anacha. She represents sorrow. Woman's natures tend to fall into depression.
Yeah.
Man's natures tend to run. What's the funny thing? Men are scared to fall there. What's the avodat Hashem? To serve Hashem whenever you're supposed to help your wife. You're supposed to give your wife the tools to be able to be besimcha. And that's the real avodat Hashem, when you combine with your wife.
And it says also, I don't know, it was the king after, I think it was Shlomo's son. I'm not sure exactly. He was a big Talmid Chacham, and he didn't get married. It says in the Gemara that the Torah that you learn when you're single doesn't, like, I don't know if this is the right phrase, but it doesn't really count. It only counts once you're married.
It's not even the same category whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's so funny. That was
So
not that
easy.
to do with sin also. Yeah, you're right. It's so easy. It's so easy. And people make this mistake today constantly. I'm going to study in yeshiva all day, and it's something. It's such a big mistake.
I don't want to say it wrong because it might be like the exact opposite, but I'm pretty sure based off what everyone's saying, it's Gemara and Kedushin says that if you have either to go and learn or to get married, you gotta go get married. Because also getting married helps you with taiva.
Oh wow.
Because that's like the number one thing for especially people that age.
Totally.
You gotta go get married, and it helps you for everything.
Yeah, it's we can't even imagine. We can't even imagine. Rabeinu wouldn't even speak. Rabbi Nachman wouldn't even speak to people that weren't married. He considered whoever wasn't married a kid. You're a child. You're playing a child's game. And those who are married, that's where the real.
So when are you getting married, bro?
You have to. I do my avodah every day, bro. Whenever Hashem sends me, whoever's watching on YouTube, who knows, bro. If you guys want to, I'll put your face in the camera. That way, you know. Sichat Hashem, because
Sorry, Rabeinu Fima's YouTube. I'm taking.
Are you crazy, bro? There's only one Rabeinu with Rabeinu Nachman, bro. Here, come in, bro.
See your name and last name and
So
drop it in
easy.
the comment section. We'll drop our numbers and names and Instagrams.
כי נדמה לו שכבר הוא מקורב להשם יתברך. Because what does it seem like him? The person who's constantly running, it seems like he's already close to Hashem. אבל באמת זהו הפגם הגדול. Know that this is a very big blemish. כי באמת אין שלמות לשום צדיק וגדול שהוא למעלה לבד. Know that there's no completeness, there's no tikkun, there's no reparation whatsoever whenever a tzaddik is only up there. ולא למטה כלל. And whenever he's not down here. Know that this is terrible. Huh?
Dear B'tachtoni.
Exactly. You have to dwell down here. Torah Zayin, that is brought in the likutei Moran, Torah Zayin, in book 2. שעיקר שלמות הצדיק שיהיה למעלה ולמטה. Know that the essence of the tzaddik, the perfection of the tzaddik comes when he's up there and down here at the same time. וזה היה פגם מהמרגלים שפגעו בארץ ישראל. Know that this is the sin of the מרגלים. That they sin about ארץ ישראל. You can explain how. כי המרגלים פגמו בזה מאוד מאוד עד שנפלו לגמרי רחמנא ליצלן. Know the מרגלים sinned with this completely until they fell. שראו בעצמם שיש להם דעת גדול והם גבוהים מבחינת אמונה. They thought that they themselves had a great da'at, great knowledge, great intellect, and that they were very high at the aspect of the level of emunah, that they had extreme emunah, the highest level of emunah. Ki emunah hi madrega achronah. Because know that emunah is the highest level, it's the last level. והם כבר באו למדרגות הדעת שגבוה יותר, על כן דיברו סרה על ארץ ישראל. And they already reached that level, which we said was Eretz Yisrael, which is pure da'at, which is pure emunah, because Eretz Yisrael is the land of emunah. They already reached that. So what did they say? No, there's no more for us. We already reached it. And that's why they spoke badly about Eretz Yisrael. ולא ידעו, but they did not know, ולא הבינו, they didn't understand, שעדיין דעתם אינם כלום, כפי מה שהיו זוכרים אם היו מבטלים דעתם. What's Rabbi Nachman saying? He's saying an incredible principle here. They would have not even received, they didn't even realize that they don't understand anything. ולא הבינו, and they don't understand, שעדיין דעתם, that still their knowledge, their chokhmah, their da'at, אינם כלום, is still nothing.
Because they thought they were so close.
They thought they were so close, but what is Rabbi Nachman saying? Had they nullified their da'at and said, yes, I am high, but I have a long way to go. Let's go to Eretz Yisrael. Had they done that, they would have attained a da'at that is even above that.
But also not praying for, not talking bad about Eretz Yisrael, talking about the tzaddik.
Yeah,
The fact that
totally.
they didn't pray for the tzaddik, from Moshe Rabeinu to go in with them, all they have to do something.
Totally true. Totally true. That's also a different
Is it
inyan.
referring to the Maraglim or the whole?
Meraglim.
Just specifically the Maraglim.
Meraglim.
They were
Yeah.
conduits to probably the rest of the mindset.
Nation.
Yeah.
So then would Kalev and
Yoshua not fall under this.
the
Yeah,
other
don't
one.
fall under this. Rabbi Nathan is going to explain later that they were attached to the tzaddik. What that means is the tzaddik, what did we just say the tzaddik's job is? To draw that which is high and very low together. That's what Moshe Rabeinu does. He draws the lowest people and the highest aspect of Hashem together.
Kalev was Miriam's husband.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was
really?
it? Was it?
I
No,
don't know.
Chul, right? Chul was
I
Miriam's
have no
husband.
idea. I was about to ask, how's this is
No,
Kalev like first introduced?
Hur
with that?
was their son who was stoned at what's it called? No, at Har Sinai.
Oh, maybe you're right. So maybe Kalev and Miriam were together, right?
I think so.
I think Chazak.
What did he do for to be stoned?
She tries. Yeah.
Try to stop Am Yisrael. It's So look at this. What did we say the tzaddik is? To draw the lowest and the highest together. And what they blemish, they only wanted to keep running. So they didn't attach themselves to Moshe Rabeinu, who understands, because Moshe Rabeinu didn't want to send. Know that Hashem was sending for them, the Meraglim, and Moshe was keeping the free will. Moshe didn't take away their free will. He said, if you want to do it, you do it, but you'll understand the blemishes later. That's why he saved Yoshua. He gave him an extra letter to save him, because he already knew what was going on. But look what's happening. Look what it says. Because if they nullified their own da'at, the level they thought they attained, and they believed the divrei Hashem yitbarach divrei Moshe, and they believed in the words of Hashem and the words of Moshe Rabeinu, shebikdushat Yisrael gavoa meod, that the kedusha of Eretz Yisrael is very high. What happens? כי מידת האמונה שזוכים בארץ ישראל, אף על פי שהיא מדרגה האחרונה, אף על פי כן על ידה תייקה עולין על כל מדרגות כולן. No, that the aspect of emunah is the highest level, right? It's the final level. But no, that if they had entered Eretz Yisrael, and once you get into that emunah, that is Eretz Yisrael, you attain a level that which is above all the other levels. It's a level like above that final piece. It's like the cherry on the icing, you know? Cherry on the cake. Ki? Emunah bifkinat even masu abonim hayta la rosh pina. Because what's true emunah? Faith? Whenever the aspect of, in the pasuk, even masu abonim, the builders, masu, they were disgusted, or the stones were rejected by the builders. Hayta, but they become le rosh pina, they become the pinnacle of the entire structure, you know? We talked about this. That's what Rabbi Nachman does to all the Am Yisrael. Rabbi Nachman will draw the lowest person and will make him do azamra on him to the perfect level, to the point where he becomes tzaddik gamur, and he becomes the beautiful piece at the end of times. That's what Rabbi Nachman's job is.
Rabbi Nachman said that true tzaddik is someone who can look at everyone on their own level, and go down to their level and look at them on their own level.
Yeah, that's what Rabeinu does.
Yeah.
And that's why Rabeinu is going to say, for all students, they're going to be Rosh Pina.
We go on Rosh Hashanah, so we go to
Of course, because it's Rosh Hashanah, we said this, Yom Hadin, the day of judgment, where the world judges us, the Yetzer Hara judges us upon the side of guilt. What's Rabeinu there? Side of marriage. In Shumehosh, exactly. There's no such thing as giving up. He tilts the scale completely.
Guilt is even worse. Guilt is the worst Yetzer Hara.
Yeah.
Guilt is. They say, and I think it's Rabbi Nathan that says, is that the Yetzer Hara of guilt is worse than the Yetzer Hara that encourages you to do the Avera, because the Yetzer Hara of guilt is what furthers it. Like, let's say for example, you eat something that's not kosher, right? You eat it. That's it. It's finished. You ate it. Obviously, it's an Avera, but still, at the end of the day, the guilt that you have after is the thing that it dresses up. You know, like, oh no, like.
I thought the guilt was the best thing. I thought the second.
No, he says ain't shum yeush.
No,
You have to,
the guilt is the
1
best.
hour a day. 1 hour a day, you do your Yidbodedut, you cry over it.
Rabbi, I thought the guilt
The rest of the day, you have to be
person
besimcha.
has- No, I get that, but I thought the guilt and the remorse the person has is the tikkun already for that.
Yes, there's a level of that.
I thought Yehush would be depression.
Yeah, depression. Yeah, I think that's like a...
Or, yeah.
The guilt and the brokenheartedness that you get from the sin is good.
Guilt will make
It's very
you think
precious.
that
Guilt leads to depression, so you have to
You have to block it at one point.
block it at one point.
So simcha, there has to be a balance between
You
simcha and...
you can't dwell on it.
So look what he says. Know that this is the aspect. The lowest become the Rosh Pina. Make sense? וכמו שאמר רבנו ז"ל בשיחותיו הקדושות שדיבר עמנו אחר התורה כנ"ל. Know that Rabeinu spoke after this Torah. שאמר אז שאמונה היא מדרגה האחרונה after Torah Zion, I think. That מדרגה is the מדרגה האחרונה. אמונה is the highest level, the final level. Guys, go get. אבל על ידי זוכים לעלות על הכל ולהגיע לבחינת רצון מופלג שעולה על הכל. But know that once you reach that final point of emunah, that emunah, through that, you will merit to attain a level over everything. And to reach what? The aspect of ratzon muflag. Now muflag, I don't know what muflag means. You reach a level of the highest ratzon. When you attain that emunah, and you attain that emunah, what they do, they had that emunah, but they didn't get to the point of going above all of that to attain this ratzon. Why? Because they didn't remove their dat. They thought they already attained everything. And once you believe you attained everything, you're finished.
I say bracha, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'adama.
Amen. Exactly. The Baal Shem Tov going to Eretz Yisrael didn't simplify himself to the zero, because the tzaddik Yesod Olam has to. The Yetzer Hara is going against the Baal. You know what the Yetzer Hara did against the Baal Shem Tov? It's unbelievable. Mashiach.
Well, what happened? What's the story?
The Baal Shem Tov tried traveling to Eretz Yisrael, and the Yetzer Hara didn't let him go. She made him throw his daughter in the sea and everything. Crazy story, whatever. He made her. The Yetzer Hara made my bad. The Baal Shem Tov throw his daughter in the sea. My bad. But she went willingly, actually. What's funny enough.
The daughter?
Yeah, because the Baal Shem Tov had a choice: either save the books he had written, or what do you call it? Or the daughter fall into the sea. And she said, "Your books are gonna save the world, so throw me in." And once she was in the water, this is the sod behind the story. Once she was in the water, she started screaming out to her father, "Take me back." He took her back in, and he asked her, what's happening? He said, "Throw the books in the water, because you're gonna have a grandson that's gonna come from me, that's gonna be bigger than you and all your teachings." Rabbi Nachman. That's how Fega ended up
What happened to his books?
all thrown in the water.
That's why there's not so many books written by the Baal Shem Tov.
There's not any books, but it's all by the students.
What is that?
insane.
What is that book that we found in the shul?
Keter Shem Tov, it's a book, I think, upon the sayings of the Baal Shem Tov, but I don't even think he wrote it himself. The Baal Shem Tov didn't even have anything.
It's like the Baba Salih's work. Once someone came and stole like all his writings,
Yeah?
and someone's like chasing after him or something. No, leave him. It's from Hashem.
Well, that's what's the case for a lot of tzaddikim didn't make it to Yisrael. It could be like everyone could have been a Mashiach, like Rambam, Rabeinu Yonah, right?
It's crazy.
No, but I think it says like if he would have met the Ola Chaim Baal Shem Tov,
In
Yeah.
Eretz Yisrael, it would have been finished.
Oh,
That's
they
what he
lived
said.
at the same time?
Yeah. They used to study together every Motzei Shabbat.
Where did they live?
I don't know. That we can't understand whatsoever.
It's like the Rebbe
They did some
and
Kabbalah
Baba
Masit
Salih
and
used
they...
to study together.
Really?
But Rabeinu said, זה התחלת הגאולה. The second my work, likutei Moran, started to be printed, he said, this is the beginning of the redemption. Finished. That's the book. Finished. That book itself will bring the entire Geula. He said it's upon that book. But anyways, we go back to it.
I love these stories.
The stories? Rabbi Nachman had to go so low to the point of simplicity that he reached Eretz Yisrael. He acted like a kid the entire journey. He took away all his honor. He stripped himself of all his honor. The reason why the Baal Shem Tov couldn't go was because he traveled with lots of glory. They knew he was a great tzaddik. But he completely hid his identity, Rabbi Nachman, because he knew that the entire point of why he was here was to go to Eretz Yisrael. Everything. And that once he got back, he said he attained the highest level that there was. You know there's 5 neshamot? There's a nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yachida. We say that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Moshe Rabeinu attained a level in chaya. We say the Mashiach can attain a level in yachida. That's the Arizal. That explains. Rabbi Nachman said he got to a point in yachida, not just any point in yachida. He said he got to the yachida of yachida, the highest level of yachida. And he said, I don't know, maybe there's more, so I'm going to continue moving. What's the exact opposite of the Meraglim? He just said. Because he attained the highest of level, he attained the highest of that. And what did he say? Maybe there's more. Look how
always
little
more.
he makes himself. He attained the highest level that there was of any tzaddik in the past history. He said the second he walked in 4 amot in Eretz Yisrael, he attained the highest level. And what? There's more. It's the most insane
Did it
thing.
say where exactly he was? Was he in Yerushalayim or which city?
He walked in to think Haifa.
Wow.
The entire journey of Eretz
I'm
Yisrael.
I'm invested in a stock that's based out of Haifa.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which one?
Sorry, bro. No, you're not bad.
What is it called? ZIM is the
What
ticker.
do they do?
Freight shipping.
What do we say? And had they nullified their own dat, they would have attained this level which is above everything. This is the aspect of Israel, that the Meraglim, they needed to remove their own dat. And they needed to tie themselves to emunah, to believe that there's always more. That they're not that close. That emunah is Eretz Yisrael. And with this, they would have attained the dat that's higher above everything. My bad. תודה. אבל הם לא רצו לסגת את אדם ולא רצו להוריד עצמם לבחינת אמונה ועל ידי זה נכנסו לכפירות ומעשו בארץ ישראל. Because of the fact they didn't want to remove their chokhmah, their da'at, what they end up doing, they ended up rejecting the entire thing, all of Eretz Yisrael, the entire Torah.
Because they didn't want to
Remove their own wisdom. They didn't want to remove their own chokhmah, their own da'at, their own levels. They thought they've attained everything.
Right.
They only wanted to run. What did this
They ran.
They were
Exactly what
running.
I was talking about.
Explain.
Like
Tell
the
me.
kid that leaves class.
Chazak. Exactly. And what happened because of this? And they caused it crying for all the generations forever. For that 40 years, obviously, every Tisha B'Av, they would pass away, they would bury their dead. And what happened? And through this, the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed. And with the Bet HaMikdash, it encompassed all the sins. And this is what the Meraglim said. And we saw the Nephilim, the giants. And we are in their eyes like grasshoppers, tiny.
What does that mean?
And so too, and this is what we were in their eyes. What did this mean? What they do?
I know, Sean.
Yeah. When they said that in the pasuk that we were like grasshoppers to them, what were they hiding inside that phrase? What's the secret behind that phrase? Rebbe Nathan saying they were dressing in that phrase the entire accusation that the Malachim made before God created the world, which was what? Don't create man; he's gonna sin. We are in their eyes like grasshoppers. What does this mean? He's going to explain right now. Shemisham ikar ha'yetzar. The Yetzer Hara exists here. Why? כי הנפילים הם בני שמחזי ועזאל, שהיו מקטרים על בריאת האדם. What are the Nephilim? We saw the Nephilim, the giants. There were two angels, right? They originate from two angels.
Prosecuted against.
Exactly that. They prosecuted against Am Yisrael, and they told Hashem, don't create the Am Yisrael, don't create the world because man's gonna sin. So better not create the world. And what they say? What happened? Hashem said, because you accused, we're gonna bring you down to this world. And what happened? They sinned with women.
That's them, those are the people.
They sent them to what?
Hashem sent them down here to this world, those two angels down here, and they sinned with women. They got tempted. And what happened? They had giants, Nephilim. These are the Nephilim.
The offspring of that?
Yeah. Which means what? We saw Nephilim. What did we really see? We saw the accusation, meaning we believed in the accusation. What does this mean? Or no, we're going to say, yeah, they believed in the accusation. Look what he says. Look at the depth. Those two people, they accused, they were pushing against the creation of man. And Hashem made them fall, they damaged very much, right? And this, from these two the accusers, that's where the sin in the Meraglim comes. Why? They didn't want to lower themselves to the aspect of emunah. How does this connect it? To connect all the worlds together. What was the aspect of the two angels? They told Hashem, don't create man because he's going to sin. What did Hashem say? You're totally wrong. Go down there and see how you do. And they failed. But what did they say? We saw the Nephilim. And we're tiny in their eyes. Which means what? We saw their accusation and we said we're nothing in Hashem's eyes. What did that mean? We're like grasshoppers.
So
they believed that the accusation was real. Meaning that what? All that I do in this lower world is worth nothing. They didn't have any emunah that... What? They proved the thing right. And that's the sin.
So how do you rectify that?
Yeah.
So let's see what it says. To have the emunah that from the lowest place you can still serve Hashem.
So wait, we're still talking about the Meraglim.
Yeah.
The Meraglim proved them right.
The Meraglim proved, these two angels right. It's the entire sin of the Meraglim right now. It's unbelievable what he's saying.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They didn't have the emunah to believe that from the lowest place you could serve Hashem, to draw all the worlds together, the lowest and the highest. This is Eretz Yisrael. And this is what it said. They didn't think Hashem could derive so much enjoyment from the lowest levels. This is what it says. And there we saw the Nephilim. And what are the Nephilim? They were actually drawn from which source? The Mekat Chagim, the initial accusers in the beginning of creation. Those two angels. And we are in their eyes like, like grasshoppers. And so too, they see us as grasshoppers. What does that mean? They lowered themselves so low to the point where they drew in with this pasuk they drew in the question of the entire beginning of creation, which is what? That the entire question the Malachim proposed, what's the point of this creation of man? Yeah. That's why Rabeinu says, lesson 7 of likutei.
No, I thought Eser Harugei Malchut was what's it called? The Meraglim, the 10 rabbis.
No, that's for Yosef, the selling of Yosef. No, the sin of the Meraglim isn't completely fixed.
Right, no, you're right.
That's the
It's
only
not.
one.
It's the only one.
That one and no, there's
No, the
one of
Arizal
them
other
is
one.
throwing Yosef in the pit.
That was it.
Yeah,
That's the 10
Eser
Meraglim, the
Harugei
10
Malchut.
Same one.
Asara Harugei Malchut. The 10 martyrs. They were all reincarnations of the 10 brothers.
10 Meraglim. There were 10 of them.
There were 10 Meraglim also, but the Meraglim are a totally different Inyan. That's why we have to be redeemed to repair. Huh?
Maybe that was a small one.
What?
The 10 martyrs.
Maybe.
No, Rabbi Kiva was Gilgul of the thing of Shimon.
Oh yeah? Wow.
They both had the same. How many students? There's a lot. Oh, well, different time.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
So I have a question. So
Was it Zimri? No, that's Zimri Ben Salo is
The person
who made them do it.
who didn't. No,
Was the guy that got
Zimri-
stabbed?
yeah,
no?
the guy-
in front of the tent. Of Moshe.
Yeah, so he,
Pinchas murked him.
yeah, Pinchas murked him
No
like a
chance.
G. Didn't even ask Moshe.
He's
He
like,
just
"Don't
went and
even
did it.
try." It's life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Well, they had the same amount of students. One of them died on Chilul Hashem. Rabbi Akiva passed away on Kiddush Hashem.
Wow. Insane.
Right. So, the Meraglim, like, okay, we're talking about, this is all about the Meraglim, but we're still punished today for what the Meraglim did?
We're still in Garut because of it. Because had it not, the Beit HaMikdash would have never been destroyed.
Had they not...
Had they
had
not
more
spoke
faith?
bad about that, he said, yeah.
What should they have done differently, in other words? Like,
They should have said, let's go enter, without us even asking to go check. Because what are you saying whenever you say Hashem's giving you a gift, which is Eretz Yisrael, and Hashem does all these miracles for you, and you don't believe you can do all these miracles, you want to fall under the path of nature to go spy out the land to see if we could defeat them?
But it was our
When
fault.
God was saving our...
We asked for it, no?
right. I'm confused.
The Meraglim are the ones who, they're the leaders of the tribe.
But we
They're the
didn't-
one that should subdue the entire argument in the first place. They're the highest level.
It was secret, bro.
What?
Everyone didn't know about it.
Yeah, not...
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
That was the difference
The
between...
Zohar can... What?
Yeah, what are you saying?
No, go.
That was the difference between Yoshua and Moshe's Meraglim.
Wow. There's lots
Oh,
to it.
Yeshua sent Meraglim too?
Yeah, but
To
they
where?
did it publicly and they chose it, and didn't Hashem say to send them?
And he said it. And he said go in, and they said go in. No?
No, they but everyone knew about it. The Meraglim for Moshe was secret. Not everyone knew, right?
Oh, they had a Meraglim? You're
What
saying...
do you mean?
Yoshua?
Of course they did.
Yoshua had
Wait, what do you mean it was a secret?
well, it's not the same idea, but the Meraglim to go for Yericho, no?
Oh, for Yericho, it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a crazy story.
Yeah,
The harlot.
yeah,
Oh, with the Rachav.
yeah. She marries Yoshua. I mean, that's not really.
Yeah. The different Inyan entirely, but yeah, totally.
You guys ever heard
Did
the
they
story
not
about
have-
Rabbi Akiva and that lady? The lady who because Rabbi Akiva got married again after his wife passed away.
Yeah? I have no
Yeah,
idea.
it's a crazy story. He laughs and he spits
Really?
when he re-meets her. It's a crazy story too.
Wow.
These Gedolei Ador stories are crazy.
It's insane.
But
Speak
didn't we
about
say
stories all
that
day.
one of the reason you started this off is that they thought they were high and they didn't want to go. They didn't want the earthliness of like the land. They thought like higher. Weren't you saying?
Yeah.
So isn't this going lower?
So what's funny is that once they entered the land of Eretz Yisrael, they realized and they felt to this level, this aspect of now what are we worth?
But didn't you start off by saying that's how they should have went into the land thinking?
Yeah. They had this mentality. Let's go into the land. Let's go into the land. They didn't necessarily... What's the sinyan? They didn't necessarily... They had a different lack of emunah, meaning that they didn't want to remove their own chokhmah to enter the land of Eretz Yisrael, right?
Yeah.
And the Zohar Hakadosh goes on to explain here that they didn't want to lose their power. They all told it themselves, let's not go into the land of Eretz Yisrael, let's speak badly, because once we enter, all the status from us is going to be removed. It's the head of the tribes.
That was
The Zohar Hakadosh explains.
So
But-
so they had good intentions.
No
Terrible
gava.
intentions.
Oh, I thought you said they're
They didn't want to enter the land because once they enter, their status is removed.
Oh,
No, I see.
because they were the leaders of the tribe.
see,
I thought
that-
they wanted to remove their own status in order to give it to.
No,
And you're saying
had that
that's-
been the
and You're
case.
saying that's what their intention should have been, to lower themselves from going to Israel,
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
connect the
makes
mundane.
So wait, it was their
And
intention all
they didn't-
along
But then why whenever
not to get in?
Yeah, they didn't want to get in. That's why
Yeah.
they spoke badly.
then why are we saying the whole issue is that they saw themselves the way the Malachim said they were?
So,
Isn't that how they were supposed to see themselves?
the way
But
they saw
on a
themselves...
on a positive
On a
note.
positive.
On a positive, but
Meaning it's like
they reaffirmed
extreme.
Yeah, they
the-
reaffirmed the belief that being low is necessarily
Negative.
negative.
They didn't want to
Yeah,
lower
it's
themselves
that.
to the point of emunah to draw all the world together. Meaning what? They only wanted to say, oh, whatever we do is not even there's no connection between the lower and the higher realms, and they were lying the entire time. They were doing this entire play of thing. They didn't want to lose their power, and what were they telling all of Am Yisrael? This aspect of emunah, you can't do this connection between the lowest and the highest point. What you do here is not really worth much. That's what they were telling Am Yisrael. They were dressing the entire accusation of the first angels. And that was their convincing to Am Yisrael. And Am Yisrael and Moshe Rabeinu tore his clothes, obviously, when you heard all this.
Yeah.
He's saying it's the exact opposite. Hashem derived the most enjoyment from the person who's the lowest. Rabbi Nachman says that's the kavod of Hashem.
Yeah, the Rebbe says that a place where a Baal Tshuva stands, that even the biggest tzaddik can't stand.
Ken, the Gemara speaks about this also. It's
Yeah.
a big inyan. It's a big inyan.
Because all your averot become mitzvot
When
Brava.
when you
Ava.
Complete the shula.
yeah.
When you do tshuva, Ken.
Brava, yeah.
Ava.
What is that? I like it.
Love.
Through love.
And what's funny, also serving from the lowest point. When you serve Hashem from the darkest point, it completely turns. I think Rebbe Nathan speaks about this in likutei Halachot. The inyan of I don't know. I don't want to say it if I'm not so certain, but I think it's the inyan of drawing the lowest point to the highest point. Serving Hashem
Roll
from
in
the darkest
snow,
point.
no?
Huh?
Maybe not going to roll in snow.
Tikkun HaShelech. I think when he was a kid. When he was a kid, he would do this.
Yeah.
He stopped all this.
Or you break the ice for mikveh, bro. Like I didn't imagine that, like how hard it was until we went to the Baal Shem Tov mikveh. It was so cold. I wasn't even close to ice.
Yeah, but do you think they
The,
did that?
the
do you
Arizal
think-
mikveh is freezing
but-
too.
It's cold.
But
It's colder
Baal Shem
than
Tov's
that
colder,
ass
bro.
mikveh.
No way.
Why bring that up? Saying that for that purpose?
For what? What are you telling me?
Meaning, why does that matter to say that he went into like freezing
Snow.
No, that was just like a
No.
different. That was like a different
Meaning to, like,
concept.
or
meant
to
he-
water, like into freezing water? Isn't that the only place? Isn't that showing a dedication to going to the mikveh?
No,
Totally,
I
it's good,
wasn't
it's
saying
good,
it's a
it's
bad
good.
thing.
Yeah,
I wasn't saying it's a bad
No,
thing.
no,
He
no.
did
I'm
it.
saying, but like, meaning, is there something special of the fact that it was cold water?
No, it's the harder it is, the more effort you put in.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
the more you get out of it.
That's what I thought. Okay.
But it's funny, Rabbi Nachman said all the idea of fasting and the inyanim of, Rabbi Nathan speaks a lot about this, and the inyanim of breaking your body, like mortification, Rabbi Nachman stopped it.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I was like, cause like, would he prefer to go into freezing water for a mikveh or warm water?
So what's funny is
You
the
only
more
do it
the
on
effort
Shabbat.
you
You only do warm water on Shabbat. On
Right.
Friday.
the more
Friday day.
Friday.
you repair the breach with warm water.
Yeah.
Because we say just like you heated up yourself for sin, which is heat, everything that's passed through fire must be purged through fire.
On Fridays.
Yeah, but most mikvahs are warmer, no?
So you take a hot oh yeah? I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of them
no,
are freezing.
most
No, the
mikvahs here
mikvah on
are-
Fridays for
Oh, yeah,
Begama
maybe.
Brit.
and they're not like a lot of them.
Because
are like
literally-
Chabad
literally-
stuff. They're not right.
It
So
warms
yeah,
up
some
your
of them are
blood
warmer. Because they warm them
and
up, they maintain
scientifically-
the...
Because I mean I just
Your
started
breeds.
reading or restarting for the first time
when it becomes
Mesilas Yesharim and like
fully functional.
don't do the
it's through blood.
true
warm
high
blood.
Hasidus isn't like fasting and freezing water.
The Torah is even scientific.
So
It's funny, yeah, it's a
Torah is
different...
even scientific.
Rabbi Nachman says, this is the beauty of it. People today, you see Kabbalists fasting all day. And they're not even attaining the highest level. You know what's funny? Because Rabbi Nachman says, you know what the highest level above all those? Hibodedut. Speaking to Hashem every single day. That's the highest level.
It also connects with the idea of like, you can't just ascend. You have to come down and like be part of the world. Just like you know, you have other like Buddhists. Like a lot of people will say, well, you know, a lot of stuff that Buddhist people do, like it's very noble. You know, they're very respectful people. They live, you know, but like that's all they do. They're just separate.
They go to
It's not
God,
the
but
Avodat Hashem.
they
Yeah,
go
it's
to
like-
God, but they don't bring God down.
Exactly. It's just
Exactly,
like
exactly.
they're just like.
In what?
Which is exactly
you know,
the
like
Muslims thing.
Hinduism,
They
Buddhism,
wanted to
some
go,
of the
they wanted to
stuff is like,
run,
oh,
they
it's
wanted to
very
go up
nice
to
how they
God.
do certain things.
But
It's very,
they
you
didn't
respect
have
that,
the-
you know? But it's one
Pastor
way.
Sean, they're
It's not
bigger
like they're not
tzaddikim than
coming
all of
back
us,
down
but-
to like.
The Shaim at that point also.
Yeah.
Because the kavod was on the line and a lot of things.
Yeah.
Rashi writes Reshaim.
Right.
But you're right, they were tzaddikim at the highest level,
Yeah.
and look how mad they fall. Because they're not attached to the tzaddik also. They didn't listen to the tzaddik. That's Moshe Rabeinu. And every generation to the Moshe that comes. So Rabbi Nachman, who's Moshe Rabeinu, is saying he'd bodedut every single day. Speak to Hashem at least for an hour every single day. By the way, it's the hardest thing. Fasting is even harder. Fasting is easier than that. I tell you. To lock yourself in the room and to speak to Hashem in your own words, in your own language. Rabbi Nachman says that's the
The
highest
best
level.
is do it in your car.
Yeah? You like it in your car?
The best.
I lock in my room, bro. My room for me. But the forest is the highest level.
You know when you're driving and
trees.
like you go for like 20 minutes, you're like, how did I get here? It's like that kind of stuff, dude.
Yeah. Speaking to Hashem, people, it's the most simple thing, but it's the highest level. And once you remove your own dat and you say, okay, maybe I'm not going to follow the path of all the biggest chachamim that they say to do this and this, the hard things. I'm going to follow this path. Hibbo to do it. Watch how hard it is because the Yitzhak put all its force into this.
So he knows you have the secret to life.
Yeah, it's a secret. Rabbi Nachman said it's the entire tikkun. It's to pray to Hashem in simplicity, to speak to Hashem.
But
To
can
beg
I
him.
say something crazy? I tried it for I would say for the first time, like you said, whatever, like really supposed to do whatever. I was just went for a walk, and what's one of the things I was praying for is that I could find a way to get into Israel. That night, I get someone, hello. Yo, that night, dude, someone told me the restrictions were lifted. at
No.
Israel. And then the
Who
next
is that?
morning, Rabbi Miles sent me an email that I have a way to get in.
Get out of here.
Bro, like
It's
that it
it's
was.
it's
June
bro.
was
He
it?
bought the
It
dude
was
is
June-
unreal.
Bro, you're not gonna open the door?
Yesterday, dude. Well, this was yesterday.
No way, bro. I
He bought, dude. I'm telling you, he bought the dude is something, huh? You see it before your eyes.
What's the difference
It's crazy.
I saw Jeremy is shaking, and he showed like everything was crazy, dude. I'm supposed to go to Israel with Jeremy, and he showed up to this party I was at last night. I'm like, right after he walked in right after someone told me, he's like, oh, I'm going to Israel. How'd you go to Israel? Oh, they lifted the vaccine restriction. You're good. You can just book
Wait,
a
you
ticket
don't
and
know
go.
vaccine now?
way.
For students.
Something like that. I don't know.
Purely
It's still
can I be a
complicated.
student for the summer?
Yeah, so no, they made the restriction like you don't need to be a student that's going there for 4 months. You just need to like go in with either a vaccine or proof of
Wow.
recovery, like I said. So that's apparently the new rule. And then just as he told me that, then Jeremy walks in like, Jeremy, I figured it out. It was
That's
crazy.
insane, bro. Hey, what's up?
I just gotta take this for them. You're welcome.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, get Isaac.
Thanks for having us, bro.
Please.
So what's the difference between Hitbodedut and davening?
So davening is
Yeah.
obligation Shulchan Aruch, right?
Yeah.
3 times a day. But the level he reaches is even higher than Tzidah.
Meaning, but
It's out of the restrictions, it's out of the box. You're not obligated to do it.
why can't you be out of the box in davening?
No, you can do it in Shema Kolenu, but it's not the
That's
same
why the
thing
Siddur
whenever
is
you
called
seclude
Avodat
yourself
Halev.
from everyone and to speak to Hashem with your heart, with the words you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because Rabbi Nachman said, Hitbodedut is specifically speaking the language you speak. Like English, for me it's my best language because your heart is closer to the words that you understand. I can't speak the Hebrew language.
That's
bro.
why you can pray. That's why you can pray in different in different languages too.
Is that in Inan? Yeah.
I think so.
Except for Shema in the first paragraph. of Shema, sorry.
So, Chazak. So, it's funny. Rabbi Nachman says the 3 tefillot of the day are considered the highway. The robbers stand on the side of the highway and they know exactly who's going to pass every single day. Like back in the time when they used to drive with the carriages, they know exactly who's passing every single day. They know the road in and out because you pray 3 times a day for your entire life and there's no renewal there. But when you do Hitbodedut every single day, your Hitbodedut is completely different. Because new things happen.
Every day, huh?
Every
let me
single day.
Let me just correct myself. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. You need to know what you're saying for Shema in the first paragraph. Of Shema,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
So maybe you can be.
Maybe you can. Yeah.
Wow,
You can.
Yeah. yeah.
Pretty sure you can.
So look at this. You see the power of Hitbodedut, it's something beyond. And not a lot of people do this, it's funny. But Hitbodedut is one of the hardest works to do. And there's once a story of Rabbi Yitzchak Breiter, a very big Beresaver Chassid at the time of the Holocaust. And one day, a big tzaddik came to visit him. Massive tzaddik came to visit him. And he was waiting outside. He knocked at his house, and the wife opened. And she's like, "You're here to visit Rabbi Yitzchak?" He said, yeah. He says, "Okay, wait, he's in Hitbodedut." He's waiting there 1 hour, 2 hours. After 2 hours, he gets up. He's like, "How long have you been in there?" Rabbi Yitzchak Breiter's answer is 5 hours. He said, 5 hours? What could you be saying in 5 hours? He said, "I haven't even begun to speak." 5 hours. And you know what's funny? I can tell you personally, I'm not at 5 hours, that's insane. I'm definitely don't even put me close to that. But like when you speak for an hour every single day, you realize like an hour is barely covering the bro. It's barely covering all the things you need. Because bro, there's zivug, and then you have to go into depth about zivug, and then there's parasha, and you have to go into depth about parasha, your work and everything, family problems, this, that, health, this. You know how many things there is to speak about? You're supposed to speak as if you're talking to your best friend, right? The conversation between your best friend doesn't happen for 30 minutes. You can speak for 5 hours and still not get tired. Friday nights, the time, right? That's what it is. Rabeinu says that biggest time for Hitbodedut is when Chatzot. 6 hours after nightfall, after the stars come out, the highest level a person has to wake up every single night. Rabbi Nachman says for Chatzot, because that's when Chesed comes down to the world. People today, it's the exact opposite. They wait and they go to bed at Chatzot.
That's why the biggest what's it called comes at night.
Tell me what?
These bad words, but
No.
Yetzer Hara for
Exactly.
because that like is Chesed.
You're saying.
Is true Chesed because you're giving.
What do you say? What did you say?
The biggest,
wow.
the
Okay,
biggest,
that's interesting.
like at night at like 10, 11 is when you get like the most like
Yeah, it's
But it's not
age.
even Chatzot time yet.
I just
Chatzot
learned-
is
I
like
just
2
learned that
around
recently.
around 1 a.m. right now. 12:50, like 6 hours after the stars come out. right then it's pure chesed. Hashem comes down and reveals himself. You see massive salvations.
The gates of Gan Eden are sealed at that time. They seal the gates, nothing's going in, nothing's going out.
At night, you're saying?
At night.
Of night?
Right before
No,
Chatzot. But at
like
Chatzot,
before.
everything's open.
From the time sunset hits to the time of Chatzot, it's pure judgment.
It's the worst.
It's very
That's
bad.
why we say we don't read Tehillim and these are parshas for Sfardim. We read Tehillim and things.
At night.
Where you're gonna read them, the evil spirits like, thank you so much for me. You know, it's not going in.
Yeah, the Arizal right. Don't give tzedakah. Also, today it's very different
No, but
because
if you're,
we're
like,
very
We understand, like, if you understand it, you understand it.
totally.
If you don't, then it can get, it can become like a question. Oh, why would you say not to do a mitzvah? A mitzvah is a mitzvah.
For sure. So the Ari Hakadosh, we can't really understand the Ari, but Tikkun HaKlal you could read anytime. By the way, I tell you that. Rabbi Nachman's Tikkun HaKlal.
The words are powerful regardless.
Yeah, for sure. The entire Ikar, and that's why Rabbi Nachman says, people usually, the way the Breslover customs was, they'd go to sleep around right after Mincha Ravit, eat a little something, go to sleep, maybe 7, 8 p.m., wake up around 2, even earlier, and that's when they start the day.
That was
They spend the
Yeah,
entire
that's-
night in
they
They
Hibbo
would go to
to
sleep
do
when it became
Tikkun
dark.
It's a Shulchan Aruch says to wake up 4 hours or whatever before sunrise and learn, and that's when you should start your day.
It's the highest level,
Yeah,
by the
same
way.
idea.
It said if you have a church to do Chatzot, then Meretz has to do Chatzot.
Chatzot, bro, is... I'll tell you, people, all the tzaddikim attain their level because of that one thing, Chatzot. Tikkun Chatzot. Because at night, Amalek is asleep. The entire world of Amalek is asleep. Right now, Amalek's at its strength. In the day, Amalek he's around, you know? At night, though, at Chatzot, second 1 a.m. hits, Hashem comes down. He sits down with the tzaddikim and he studies with them. And what do they study? They listen to the conversations of those who are up at Chatzot. Those who study and do Tikkun Rachel and Tikkun Leah and mourn over the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, they're listening to their tefillot, and it's the most unbelievable thing. You get to, one who sits down and mourns over the destruction will come and see it rebuilt. Those who do Chatzot will be able to dance with the Shekhinah, the divine presence at the time of Mashiach. Dance. That's what it is. That's the dance of the tzaddikim. And Rabeinu, he says, this is it. Tikkun Chatzot, it's everything. To be really impressive is to do Tikkun Chatzot, because there was a big tzaddik by the name of Rabbi Moshe Breslever. And what do they say about him?
Where it says,
Breslever. Because he never missed a Tikkun Chatzot. Or I think Rabbi Yisrael Karduner also. Rabbi Yisrael Karduner, Rabbi Breslever Chassid, they write Breslever on it. Why? Or I think Rabbi Moshe Breslever also, whatever it is, I don't know the thing. And it's because he never missed a Chatzot in his life.
So what does that mean to never miss a chatzot? Just to wake up and...
It's to go to sleep early every night, and 5, whatever, how many hours later, wake up at Chatzot and to mourn the destruction of the temple, to involve yourself in Yibodedut, to go out to the forest doing Yibodedut, to learn Torah, and then it's mikveh. Bro, I'll tell you one time, if you guys would really be down to do it, because sometimes we do it Thursday night. Like tomorrow night is like the time to do it. Can't do it tomorrow night, I have something, unfortunately. It's strong, but whatever. Do it one night. I went out to the beach with him. When it's at night, all you can hear is the sound of the waves. Sit down, do Yibodedut. Ask Yosef, how's the Yibodedut at the beach when no one's there? Especially when you get good sleep. When you get like 6 hours and it's early night hours, you're getting a lot of sleep. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Those hours of sleep are like...
Yeah, it's best to go to bed early and wake up early. That's the best.
So, bro.
No one likes doing that.
Yeah, no one likes it. It's the hardest thing, but when you have friends that do it with you, imagine the koach. They used to have a minyan of Breslevers wake up for Chatzot every night and do Hibodedut together. This was right before the Holocaust, and they stopped it. That's when the Holocaust hit and all this stuff. But they were doing it. They were keeping Poland alive. They were keeping everyone. Chatzot and Hibodedut. And you know what that means? When 10 people get together, 10 Jews, and imagine Los Angeles, bro. The Geulah probably would come. 10 Breslevers did Chatzot together.
Let's do it. Let's get a minyan. Yeah, let's do it.
We'll do it one night next week or something.
We should do it.
Wait, you go to sleep early? Oh, dude. Wow. Whatever. You know what I mean? We meet at the beach and we all do Hibodedut. We go our separate ways. We do Hibodedut, whatever, an hour. We speak to Hashem, pure heart. Come back, mikveh, learn, tefillah. Your tefillah, by the way, is on a different level. It's something else. Morning of champions. Yeah. Really, best Hibodedut is at the mikveh at the beach, but you can't see anything. It's pitch black. It's sketch.
Where?
At the beach, you do
The beach
mikveh.
at night is a
I did it once, but bro, you feel like 1,000 things are gonna come at you.
Yeah, what,
Dude,
you
I was
feel
in
like
Miami
you beat
on
the
a
water,
Friday.
You feel like scared.
I was in Miami on
You're
a
like,
Friday.
where am I? It's crazy.
Dude, I did mikveh in. I did.
You do mikveh there?
Dude, you know what I went
In
to?
the ocean at night?
No, you don't. No, I stopped doing that. I got tripped out.
And
bro.
I was in Miami on
Because
on Friday.
like it's
Remember we went to
I did it once.
Do you do mikveh with me?
What?
Where's the
On
shore?
when we were in Miami.
At night?
No, on Friday afternoon. We went deep into the ocean. Like I take off like my box. I'm like, yo, hold it. Look.
That's what
Yeah,
we do.
I was
Dude,
there.
Hawaii,
yeah, we did it.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
It's
We do it
crazy.
in Hawaii and stuff, through clear waters.
Yeah.
That's sick.
It's
I went
crazy. Like
swimming
with
in
a lot of like the Hasidim, they do the thing with their
swimming in the
finger.
ocean at night.
Oh, really? They do that?
Yeah.
They just lift the finger up.
Yeah. To count. It's like to count. I don't know.
Oh, and they just stay
They
under?
count that as a dip because not your entire body. So they move it out and they bring it back in.
Meaning for 3 dips, you're saying?
No, they just move their finger out. If they want to do a lot of dips, rather than move their head in and out, it takes time. They just put their finger in and out or something like that.
I'm serious.
And fast, they do fast. But the technique of the mikveh, Rabbi Nachman speaks very much about it.
I learned about it.
You don't inhale, you exhale before you go in the water. It's contrary to thought.
3 times as much.
When you're going inside the water, you're getting reborn.
Way more.
To take in the kedusha of the mikveh, you don't
It's a recycle.
breathe in. You breathe out all the things that you have bad, and then you go in completely new. And once you can't breathe, you get out.
Oh, you go in
like amazing to
After
You go in
the
without
exhale.
breath.
Uh-huh.
It's inhale,
Deflated.
exhale, out.
Exactly.
Both at the
Like-
same time.
And then you go in, stay there inside the water.
Oh, you
want
go
me
in
to
as
scream?
exhaling, or you go in after you're done exhaling until you
After
get
you're
home?
done, as you whatever it is, I don't know.
I do it as I'm exhaling and like
You go in. Wow, chazak.
Yeah.
think about the letter mem.
His grandfather saw it.
Mem.
Oh, yeah,
It's the only letter in the Jewish alphabet that it starts and ends the same way, which is
No way.
And then, like-
Dr. Fauci leaked emails
Yeah.
came out that the virus was man-made.
yeah.
Oh,
He knew
Good nuts.
Oh,
Anyone
they're
have the
trying to-
virus? Anyone have the?
the vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
No, I'm
joking,
saying
I'm
if you had it's the same thing. Like my whole thing was like, okay, I don't want to get the vaccine because I think it's man-made, but COVID is man-made.
So look at this.
Lesser of two evils.
It's fine. Just don't take the booster.
So no.
Do you ever have COVID? You ever had COVID or no? You had it? You had it?
Yes, you don't even need it.
How was it?
It was in the
I had it
beginning-
mildly,
It was
but-
like beginning of COVID, March 2020. My last semester.
How was it?
We were losing our taste.
Dry cough. Lose our
We were
taste.
losing taste, and I was like, I thought I had a sinus infection. Went to the doctor and everything. Through Zoom, my sister. He's like, yeah, you have a sinus infection. And we realized I'm losing taste and the smell was.
So look at this. What was their problem? They thought they were like grasshoppers in the world. That Hashem doesn't receive anything from them. But even from the grasshopper, Hashem receives. That's what they were mistaken about. כמו כן, היו מרגלים בעיני עצמם, so too the מרגלים were in their own eyes. כי התלבש בהם הכתבו הנ"ל, ונחשבו בעיני עצמם כחרם מעם, ונפלו באמונה האמיתית שהשם יתברך מקבל תענוג וישר שוב מבני אדם. דווקא אפילו מהמנוחמים ביותר. That's the mistake. כי זה היה עיקר פגם של המרגלים שבגמו בארץ ישראל, שהם זוכים מבחינה זו בתכלית השלמות לזכות לתכלית האמונה. Had they entered Eretz Yisrael with the right intention, they would have understood that from the lowest of points you can enter to Hashem. You can get to Hashem.
There's also the inyan that angels are what's keeping everything, like even a blade of grass.
As an angel telling it to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Everything small.
Angels behind the box.
Nothing in this world moves unless there's something being up there.
The
This
world
or-
is recreated every second.
It's exactly that. והם פגמו בזה על ידי שהתלבש בהם כתחו גם לאחים שאינם מאמינים באשר שומעים ומקבל להשם יתברך מבני אדם. I'm gonna skip a little bit. They blemished this idea. וזה שמבואה שגם המרגלים היה על ידי גסות. And understand that the מרגלים sin is arrogance. כמו שכתוב בזוהר שהיו כולם זכאים. They were all very worthy people. אבל נטלו את הבישה. They took something on for themselves. I don't know what direction they should use.
Learning a lot of Torah makes you arrogant.
It's funny. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
The higher
you think you're
But
here.
it depends. Like, you can also get. It's good to have holy arrogance, right?
Holy
Yeah.
arrogance. That's like akshanu. That's like stubbornness.
Bro, blew my mind.
What? Holy arrogance?
Holy arrogance is different though. It's like you're going to a place,
It's true.
like I'll tell you holy arrogance. Actually, my dad, God bless him. He's the man. We were by the pool last week in Arizona, and I had chips from the. I don't mind telling you guys. I had chips and salsa and guacamole by the pool, and my daddy was like cocky about like bringing his crackers, hummus, and cold cuts. He was cocky. He was like holy arrogance.
It's good though.
Exactly that.
There's nothing bad about it.
The voice note, I don't know who sent it, but it was beautiful. It's like, you always have to, like kind of like we were saying with Sibor, Tzaddik, Benoni, Rasha. You know, you should always like be considered like, I don't know how you said it.
Like on the same level,
The same way a
You need each
Rashad,
other.
the same way a Rashad doesn't care about doing an Avera and saying, "Oh, I don't care. Screw you, bro. I don't care. I'm gonna go do this." The same way a tzaddik should have that kind of mindset, but we're doing a mitzvah.
Exactly. It's exactly that.
Stubbornness.
Stubbornness. Exactly. It being akshan, like nothing's gonna stop me. If Hashem wants to stop me from doing mitzvah, I don't care.
It says be
Hashem's
bold
not
as a
gonna stop me.
leopard when it comes
Be
to-
bold as
People say like, what are you crazy? You want to make person? Like, who are you?
Are you on crack? Who do you think you are?
Me and Ari that before, bro.
You gotta be the nachshon. You just gotta jump in the water. Who cares?
Exactly.
Even,
It's
even
exactly
when you're
that.
giving when you're giving Torah to someone, like you should view yourself as like, yes, I'm giving Torah, so I have the ability to do that, and like I should do that. But you should see yourself like as like still as the recipient. Like
Totally.
That's why it gets hard though. Like,
There's two
the-
mentalities. You're right. Arrogance is the hardest trait to defeat. The hardest. It's something that constantly.
Gava.
Yeah. And anavado is picturing yourself lower than everybody else. It's to understand that
Biggest
there's people
tzaddikim were like that.
but at
Yeah.
the same time,
David Amelech, Tola, Tama, like a
Exactly.
worm.
Anochi tolat, I'm a worm. It's
Like
insane.
Avraham Avinu said,
dust.
Anochi kafar.
And Moshe Rabeinu was the highest. Why? V'nachnu ma. What am I?
Yeah,
I'm not even anything. I'm not even dust or worm. I'm a what?
but at the same time,
Mechenina
Exactly.
mesifrecha. Mechenina mesifrecha.
Shh, erase me. It's insane. It's exactly
that's
that.
the craziest thing. He said, give him the whole book.
That's a tikkun for Noach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's a crazy.
Noach
thing
didn't-
about that.
May
anywhere.
Noach.
Yeah.
May Noach. It says not the why is it called
Wow.
that? Because
He didn't pray.
yeah,
Mechenina, not the same letters.
You want to know the same letter?
you didn't pray.
Nah.
The im ayin mechenina. Mechenina.
Is May Noach.
Take the letters backwards. Mecheni. So na. You have aleph at the end na. Then nun. Then mecheni is the yud. So ani. And then you have a nun again. A chet, a mem, and then me. The im ayin. The nun of the ayin. Ani nachman. The im ayin mechenina. You have read it backwards. Na from the last letter of na to
Ani.
the nun, last letter nun of ayin. You get ani nachman. So we see big things here. Anyways, what did they do? They took upon themselves a crown. If they go into the land, we'll remove ourselves from our heads. We won't have the same status. And Moshe will appoint different leaders. Because in the Midbar we attain this level, but in the land of Eretz Yisrael we won't merit this. כי מובן שם בהתורה הנ"ל, בסופה של כל הבחינה הנ"ל, דהיינו להעיר ולקשר עליונים ותחתונים, זה זוכה לצדיק הגדול, על ידי גודל ענוותנותו שזוכה לענווה של משה שאמר ונחנו מה. Exactly what you just said. What do we say? כי מובן, it's brought in the Torah, that at the end, בסופה של כל הבחינה, that we just, all this stuff that we just discussed, meaning what? To illuminate and to attach the lowest and the highest aspects together. This is what the tzaddik merits. Because of what? His great humility. That he's able to nullify himself completely. Through the fact that he does that, he's able to tie the lowest and the highest things together. He attains the, the... No,
We're gonna hit Bodadut, boys.
Bezrat Hashem next week. If you guys want, if it's running a little bit late, I'll try to pause it right now.
No,
We'll get it
no,
done.
this is just me. I'm being a Rasha.
Chaz v'shalom. Azamra. Try to wrap this up a little quickly. All the best. Chazak, bro.
Please bring back Molina. You're gonna help us. So many Jews keep kasher.
Bezrat Hashem. Bezrat Hashem.
There's
So
a
many
Yesod
Jews.
in Moshe now.
Maybe. Yeah. No, you're right.
Bibi Netanyahu back to presidency. The guy has nothing to do with it.
Amen. Chazak.
Love you guys. Shabbat
Love you, bro.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom. ומן גודל מדנו הוא מוריד את עצמו לכל המדרגות התחתונות ומעלה ומקשר כולם אל השם יתברך כמו שהזכיר שם בסוף התורה כי משה היה ענב והענווה גדולה מכולם. Moshe is the highest level. He's the most humble out of all of them. And because of that level, that his humility that he had, he was able to lower himself to all the lower levels and to bind themselves all up to Hashem Yitbarach. As it's brought in Rabbi Nachman's lessons. במובן שהם כל, שם שהכל תלוי בענווה. Know that everything is dependent upon humility. כי באמת העיקר היא הענווה שמשים עצמו כעין, כאילו אינו יודע כלל, כי מבטל את עצמו בתכלית הביטול ועל ידי זה אינו עומד על דעתו כלל. הוא מקשר כולם להשם יתברך. He doesn't think of himself as anything. He just wants to attach all the lower things to the highest things. So he makes himself as if he's the lowest person. This is Moshe Rabeinu, this is Rabbi Nachman, these are all these people. והמרגלים פגמו בזה שהיו יראים שלא יעבירו מהם הרישות שלהם. But what the מרגלים do? They wanted their honor. I'm going to try to move around a little quickly. What happens? They understood that in Eretz Yisrael, they needed to attain a different level. Hevinu shesham Eretz Yisrael. You need to attain what? In Eretz Yisrael, what do you need to attain? Mochin acherim. You need to attain different types of intellect. Until what? Until they were able to elevate all the lower aspects to Hashem. But they didn't want to go into Eretz Yisrael, so they weren't able to attain that. And they saw themselves as if they already attained all that they could, all the ideas that Eretz Yisrael speaks about, and that they didn't think that they needed to go down here to the lowest levels.
I feel like if they would have really attained that,
Had Moshe Rabeinu entered, it would have been
I'm saying
finished.
if the Bnei Israel really attained
That level?
they have a guy's son and Moshe Rabeinu.
Maybe, yeah, who knows? I have no idea, but I'm sure there's something, I'm sure there's a deep inyan there. Bro, I actually don't know. We're really testing it. And they saw themselves, that's impossible to reach this, because they didn't want to lower themselves. Therefore, they were afraid that what happens? What did they not do? They didn't go into Eretz Yisrael because they were afraid of taking their own power, their own leadership. And what happened? This is why they took a crown for themselves and they spoke badly about Am Yisrael, about Eretz Yisrael, so that what do you call it? To sway the nations from not going in this, to sway Am Yisrael from not going in. Yeah. And what happens? The truth is, they need to nullify themselves and to remove their power. And if they did that, they would have. And if they removed their own chokhmah and their own da'at, they would have and strengthened themselves in emunah. They would have attained the highest level of Eretz Yisrael, and to attain what? Afterwards, to attach all the lowest aspects to the highest.
But it's interesting, Hashem wanted that to happen.
Yeah, but there's free will also. There's this inyan of totally. Hashem has everything planned, but there's an inyan of free will. Man can choose, and people will get punished for what they decide. What we just said. To attach the lowest aspect to the highest. That's emunah. What's emunah? From the lowest place I can serve Hashem.
So serving Hashem from the lowest point.
But to attach
the
yourself.
lowest things also, right?
Right. They should have lowered themselves. Also, it's Baki
Beratzov b'kibish. Exactly. But what's the inyan also? Who's the one that attaches the lowest and the highest? What's Rebbe Nathan saying? What's the Geulah? The tzaddik. When you attach yourself to the tzaddik, because the tzaddik is the one who unites the lowest places to the highest. Me, who's the lowest, and I attach myself to the tzaddik, he's going to make me the Rosh Pina. Even Masobonim, the stones that were discussed by the builders, the previous tzaddikim that didn't like our neshamot, because we're the last ones. We're the disgusting neshamot. If you like it or not, this is what it is.
We're going to be the ones.
And we're going to be the one, because of tzaddik Yesod Olam, because of the aspect of Moshe Rabeinu, because of Rabbi Nachman,
So if they would have prayed
we're
for
going to be
Moshe
the highest
Rabbeinu-
neshamot.
Right, so if they would have prayed for Moshe Rabeinu, they would have binding themselves to the tzaddik.
Exactly.
Moshe would have gone into Eretz Yisrael, would have gone to Mashiach.
That's, yeah, totally. It's exactly that. It's Moshe Rabeinu, they didn't have the emunah. But that's also another inyan, Ari. The inyan of
Yeah,
praying
I
for
know,
Moshe.
I
It's
know.
later,
That
but
was
you're
way
totally
later
right.
before he died.
They didn't listen to Moshe's advice. What happens? They didn't do this. And what happens? If they did that, if they removed their own chokhmah, they would have even been bigger leaders, had they not known. They already blemished everything. That's why Rabbi Nachman says in lesson 7 in likutei Moran, the entire essence of why we are in Galut is because we have chesron emunah, a lack of emunah. And how will the Geulah come? When we have emunah, when we restore it. How do you do that? With the tzaddik. Because the tzaddik attaches the lowest and the highest. I can do anything. From the lowest point, I can still become Moshe Rabeinu. You have to believe that. And I'm going to skip a little bit. They didn't have anava, they didn't have humility. And one who one who has arrogance is as if he serves avodah zarah. He served idols. Nimtza, we find shege'utu b'chinat kfirot ve'avodah zarah. Because of their arrogance, what happened? They fell into avodah zarah and kfirot. That's what it is. When you have arrogance, that's where you fall. And the Torah can only be attained through what? Humility. Know that. That's why the Torah was given on Har Sinai in the desert. From the place with nothing. And what's the opposite of arrogance? Humility. And what's humility? Emunah. Faith. Shelidizeh. Ikar ha'ikashrut al matata. Because through emunah, we can bind the lowest world to the highest. And that's how we attain Eretz Yisrael. And this is why, after the sin of the Meraglim, when Hashem came to Moshe and said to Moshe, Salachti kidvarecha, Katuv Sham Samuch Miyad, it says right next to there, I've forgiven you according to your word. Mimalech kavod Hashem et kol haaretz. What did it say right next to that? And the kavod of Hashem shall be filled throughout the entire land. This is the pasuk. Vayomer Hashem salachti kidvarecha ve'olam chayani b'melech kavod Hashem et kol haaretz. Right connected. היינו, ייקח את המרגלים היה שלא רצו להאמין בקדושת ארץ ישראל, שלזה יכולים לגלות את הלכות בכל העולם. What was the sin of the Meraglim? They didn't want to attach themselves to the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael. They didn't want to reveal Hashem in all the places in the world, the lowest and the highest. Al Ken, this is why Hashem says to Moshe, right after, even though they did what they did, and it's going to cause the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash and all the sin, Afal Pichen Adir B'Marom Hu, Hashem. Hashem is really lofty. And He will do everything. He will finish everything according to what needs to be done. And what happens? The entire earth will be filled with His glory. Because sof kol sof. Because at the end, when the Mashiach will come, everything will be restored and built. The Beit HaMikdash will be built. And then God's godliness will be revealed throughout the entire world, the lowest and the highest. And what happened? V'gam me'ad ve'adata. Ve'ad she'yavo Mashiach. From then and now, and until the time the Mashiach will come, Hashem will never leave us. And He sends us who? The tzaddikim noraim, the true tzaddikim, every single time. That send unto us what? Their da'at. The holy da'at. The da'at of understanding that there's always levels to attain. There's always bringing close to Hashem no matter where you are. And that's how you repair the meraglim. Whenever you repair da'at to the entire world. And it's almost done. Right now we're getting to Kalev and Yoshua. This is why Kalev, who was the opposite of Meraglim, he didn't get drawn to their Yitzhara. This is why immediately what did he do? When he went to Eretz Yisrael, he went to Hebron. Prostrated himself on the kever of the Avot. He prayed by the kever of the Avot.
Is that the first time we see where it talks about
basically, yeah. And what did Yoshua do? Who did he go to? Moshe Rabeinu. Moshe Rabeinu gave him what? A new name, Yehoshua, not Hoshea.
Sorry, this is when Kalev got into
Eretz Yisrael. Where was the first place he went to?
Wow.
Hebron. Pray by the kever of the tzaddikim, because the tzaddikim have emunah. And it's what did Moshe bless Yehoshua with? Yad Yoshiach me'atzat meraglim. Hashem will save you from the advice of the meraglim. Yud Kei, because what? Yehoshua. And all this stuff is coming, and this is why the essence of their blemish was that they didn't believe in the faith in the tzaddikim, the true tzaddikim. They didn't believe in that you can get close to the true tzaddik. And this is how the world really gets close to Hashem. Because the true tzaddikim, at the aspect of Moshe, what do? They illuminate the entire world with their da'at, with their chokhmah, with the Torah that they have. The wisdom that they have. What's that? Ki Hashem hu Elokim. Lesson 4, that Hashem is one. Whether Hashem sends something bad or something good to you, it's all good. That's emunah. No matter where you are, Hashem is good. Everything is good. So what happens? Kalev, he went to the Avot, and Yoshua, he attained this bishlemut. He really attained this connection bishlemut because he didn't move from Moshe's tent. Everything Moshe said, everything Moshe did, he was offering there. It's like, you know, the tzaddikim, they have people that, like, they're students, and then there's that person who's a shamash. The person who, like, gets his food, his cup, is this. That's Yoshua. And that's higher than all the Talmidei Chachamim. You know why? Because he never leaves the tent. You learn from Moshe with every single action.
He's also bringing the mundane to the holy.
Totally. Pshitut.
You need a bridge.
Yeah. Totally.
That's why.
Exactly. It's exactly that.
What is it?
Sing it.
The whole world is a narrow bridge.
It's Rabeinu's words.
Yeah.
Really?
So as you know, Vapi
והעיקר לא לפחד קהל. The essence is not to be afraid. רבי נחמן, bro. מצווה גדולה להיות בשמחה תמיד. רבי נחמן again.
Wait, outro.
It's all the phrases, you know, all the famous ones.
And do weddings.
Bar mitzvah.
Bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs.
What happened? Kalev saw that Moshe didn't bless him. So where did he go? To the Avot. And Yeshua was attached completely, so he got the blessing from Moshe. And this is what we see. אבל כלב רוח אחרת הייתה עמו והמלאה אחרי השם כי האמין בגודל כוח הצדיקים, because Kalev believed in the כוח of the tzadikim even after they passed away. That's where he went to the Avot. It's a different inyan. And this is why he went and prayed on the Keva of the Avot, that he wouldn't separate themselves from them, and that he wouldn't follow their advice, the bad advice of the Meraglim. And this is what happened. This is 3 lines. And he showed them the truth. That it wasn't like, and what happened? The Avot showed them. They showed Kalev, my bad, that it was not like what do you call it? That the real truth wasn't by the Meraglim. Hashem showed Kalev that it wasn't by the Meraglim. Because on the contrary, the tzaddikim have the koach in their lives, and even after they pass, even after they live in their passing, to bring man out of sin, because their holy wisdom, it stands forever and ever.
Was that the end?
Huge.
I was thinking maybe the Meraglim were. It's the end of the recording, so I don't know if people are connected.
Go.
Either way, no. Maybe the Meraglim were people who believe that they don't need a tzaddik in their life, that they don't need to attach themselves, that all is going to be good by themselves, and that everything's going to be answered, that they're on some specific level. In reality, they're not on that level at all. They're so far, they don't know.
Gava.
Yeah.
By you
Maybe,
attaching,
maybe,
not you're
I don't
attaching yourself to the tzaddik, you're saying, I can do it.
I'm
I'm good.
good.
Yeah, basically.
That's like, yeah.
But there's always a Moshe Rabeinu. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, everyone in his generation flocked to Rabbi Shimon. Everyone understood the Arizal was the biggest tzaddik in his generation. The Baal Shem Tov, everyone flocked to the Baal Shem Tov. Rabbi Nachman's the final one. Rabbi Nachman said, there's no difference between me and Mashiach. The only difference is, no one's going to believe me, and the Mashiach will be believed.
So were there people who believed that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Arizal, the Baal Shem Tov were all the tzaddikim that they had to follow?
Totally.
You know?
The Arizal had controversy in his thing, but after he came in, and there was mamash, there was no controversy at that point. Everyone spoke.
No one argues against Zohar.
Right.
And the works of the Ari, everyone. And it's funny.
No one understands it to argue against it, though. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why people, I feel like, argue more against likutei and stuff, because they're able to comprehend it. No one's gonna go to the Zohar, right? No one's gonna.
People
go
can
to
understand the
Zohar
Zohar more than
and
the
be like,
likutei.
Who, bro?
Huh?
Who does that?
What?
Wait, what'd you say?
Said people can understand more the Zohar than likutei moran.
Okay.
Likutei moran is not comprehensible whatsoever.
I'm saying on Bipshitut.
Bipshitut, that's why Rabeinu, that's the beauty of Rabeinu, is that he brought the highest teachings to the lowest place.
No, but I'm saying that's why you don't see as many arguments on the Zohar and stuff, because no one really.
Between you and I.
It's in Aramaic, and no one's gonna be like, people, you have to be 40 years old to study.
But no one argues against Rashi because there's no controversy against Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.
Yeah.
There's even people today, by the way, that say Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai never wrote the Zohar. Hashem Yarachem, Lo Alenu.
I say he was a student or something?
No, he said it was written like in the 1600s.
Rabbi Moshe de Leon, nonsense like that.
How does that make sense?
Kafrut.
Yeah, it's so funny. That's like literally what I learned in school, in Jewish school.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
my
You
rabbi
learned
said
that?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Dude,
insane.
my rabbi said that. It wasn't written by Shimon.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's not written by him.
But
It's written by a
even if
student.
not, the Gemara talks about Kabbalistic teachings. It's where we were written, just like, well, the Mishnah was written by but no, it wasn't. It was written down by him. Or
Yeah, you're
by
right.
him.
It wasn't
It was
from-
always the teachings of the Mishnah.
But who brought down... The Zohar is complete teachings from Eliyahu Navi that taught Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the cave for 13 years. And it said Rabbi Shimon in the Zohar taught it to Rabbi Abba, and Rabbi Abba wrote it. The entire Zohar is written by Rabbi Abba, his main student. Just like Moshe Rabeinu had Yehoshua, who would do everything. There was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who would write? Rabbi Abba. Who would write for the Arizal? Rabbi Chaim Vital. Who would write for the Baal Shem Tov? Magid Mezrich. And who would write for Rabeinu? Rabbi Nathan. Rabbi Nathan. Exactly. Rabbi Nachman says, had it not been for Rabbi Nathan, there would not be a page left of my teachings. There would not be a page left. Rabeinu is, if Rabbi Nathan had not been here, there would not be a page of my teachings. A page. And Rabbi Nathan wrote down everything. And Rabbi Nathan says, I missed 1,000 conversations and this and that. And he says it because of our many sins and all this stuff. every word Rabbi Nachman said, he said, there's not a breath that escapes from my mouth that is not novelty. You have to read Chayei Moran. That's why I say, read the biography of Rabbi Nachman that Rabbi Nathan wrote. Because once you read that book, you don't understand anything about Rabbi Nachman.
Tzaddik count?
And that's the point. That tzaddik is Chayei Moran.
Tzaddik?
Tzaddik is Chayei Moran in English.
I feel like I've been on a pilgrimage with.
You're reading Sichot Haran?
I read it in Sichat though.
The pilgrimage is amazing, though.
It's sick, but should I read it again in his wisdom? If it's a sin. Sorry. In Tzaddik, should I read it again?
Is it there?
It's in Tzaddik, of course.
Yeah?
The pilgrimage? I don't know, is it?
I don't know, maybe in the back. I don't know.
I thought it was there. I thought that was the whole beginning part.
No, the beginning part is not that.
What's the beginning part?
The beginning part of Chayei Moran is always the inyan of where it starts. He grew up in the house of Baal Shem Tov, this, that.
No, but his pilgrimage is somewhere in there.
Oh, so
That's
maybe they
why
added it.
Because I read it in Sichot Haran already. I guess it's a shorter version of this pilgrimage.
Maybe.
You know, before Sichot Haran has it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shifrei Haran. Shifrei Haran.
Sick story, by the way.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Read it, it's so sick how I got that. It's fine.
Rabbi Nachman. Every word of Rabbi Nachman.
Wait, if Rabbi Nachman, you said that who you said that didn't get into Eretz Yisrael, so he didn't.
Baal Shem Tov.
Baal Shem Tov. And Rabbi Nachman says that he is like got to the highest level, and when he went to Eretz Yisrael, so why wasn't he the Mashiach?
Rabbi Nachman says there's something bigger than being the Mashiach.
Something bigger than being the Mashiach.
Bringing the Mashiach.
Then bringing the Mashiach.
Yeah. He said this in Chayei Moran.
He was for something else.
What?
Like he was for something else.
He was the Mashiach of his generation. The sin, he fell. Like, you know, the Arizal said he was the Mashiach ben Yosef. The Rabbi Chaim Vital writes in the holy books.
That who was?
The Arizal was Mashiach ben Yosef of his generation. There's a very famous story that he asked them to come to the Kotel to pray Arvit Shel Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat at the Kotel, and none of them, they said, let's go ask our wives. And there, the Arizal tells everyone, you missed your chance. We would have been with the Mashiach had they said yes. And Rabbi Chaim Vital writes, when they were walking back, and everyone was in total despair, he says, I kind of realized that Arizal was referring to himself. He was the Mashiach ben Yosef. And Rabbi Nachman said he had a son by the name of Shlomo Ephraim. That was the Mashiach of his generation. And Rabbi Nachman was the Mashiach of his generation. There's always Mashiachs of the generation. Rabbi Nachman said, though, if I could, I would give up everything that I'm doing right now. Moving, not doing kiruv, not bringing all the Am Yisrael closer, not writing the deep books. If I could, what I would do right now, no, he's not saying if I could, he said, I could throw everything away and to put all my focus on bringing Mashiach, and I will. If I choose that, you know? What did Rabbi Nachman say? Bigger than bringing the Mashiach is to bring all of Am Yisrael close to Hashem. Teshuvah.
Because that's higher than Torah, right?
The inyan of the Mashiach is to do teshuvah. But if the Mashiach comes, there's no more free will. Who's going to do teshuvah anymore? So what's bigger than bringing Mashiach? Bringing the entire world to get to the level of the Mashiach. There's tzaddikim today that don't even need the Mashiach because what? They're already living in the world of the Mashiach. They live in the da'at of the Mashiach. What's the Mashiach going to do? He's just going to tell you how to repair your soul. You know, people are going to die after the Mashiach and everything. Rabbi Nachman says, don't think the Mashiach's going to die himself. Mashiach ben David.
It's going to happen and then they're going to, right?
Oh, it happens first?
What?
Techiyat Meitim. I thought the whole
I have no
point-
idea how it works, honestly.
I don't know. From the very, very little that I learned in yeshiva of was like Techiyat Meitim, and then doesn't Derech Hashem outline it?
No idea.
I know that there's the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin says for 6,000 years the world will be occupied. From the 6,000 to the 7,000, it's going to be completely empty, and after that, there's an aspect of Olam Haba.
After 6,000 years, it's empty?
Yeah, it's empty. The world will be desolate for 1,000 years, just like Shabbat.
Wait. Thank God we don't live in that. It's coming near, though. We feel it.
But the
This is
Mashiach
supposed to
come
be
before.
this is supposed to be the time of the Mashiach.
Totally.
No one's gonna wow.
So it means it's empty and then what? Like,
Yeah, but listen, I don't want to like this is Hasidus, stuff. But then you take the Rambam's interpretation of everything, which is more like things won't really change that much. There would be like a Mashiach. Things will kind of be like whenever is the Beis Hamikdash, the first Beis Hamikdash, and there will be more. But it's different ways of taking things based off of your personality of how you want to.
All I can say is this is Moshe Rabeinu speaking. Rabbi Nachman actually had a lot of controversy against the Rambam. Had a lot of things to say against the Rambam because the Rambam interpreted a lot of things theoretically and very much intellectually. he says a lot of controversial things like God can't make a triangle into a circle. Which Rabbi Nachman says, how can you say such a thing? Because you can't understand God. God can do whatever he wants.
Wait, what do you can't make a triangle into a circle?
Yeah, it's not physically possible for God to make a triangle into a circle.
What does that mean?
Take it whatever you... Meaning to change the shape of a triangle into a circle. Geometrically, it can't be possible. He also says that the Ktoret is the inyan of like... because at the time they were offering Avodah Zarah and offerings of Avodah Zarah. That's why we brought the Korbanot, to counteract that thing. Rabbi Nachman says how worthless it is to give an argument to why we do the Korbanot because of the Goyim. Rather than the Sod behind it, the Kabbalah behind it. The Rambam wasn't familiar with the Kabbalah.
Yeah, Rambam wasn't.
Oh shit.
That's why the Rebbe Hakadosh never sang Yigdal Elokim Chai at the end of Shabbat. At the end of like a tefillah or like because he said the Rambam didn't have any knowledge of the Kabbalah, so what's he saying? I only want to sing Piyutim that they have the understanding of the Sod. The Arizal never said anything, and Rabbi Chaim Vital says a lot of things of the Rambam. No Chaz v'Shalom to say he was, God forbid, bad. Tzaddik, Rambam. But fell a lot in his wisdom, according to the Rabbi Nachman, the Arizal, and lots of things, because he interprets a lot of things with this when we can't understand them. Then Rabbi Nachman says, Emunah pshuta, simple faith. Don't think you can understand everything. Serve Hashem because you have to, and then once you do that, you'll find different reasons for this and that, and that will only strengthen your faith. But the foundation has to be with simple faith and believing, because Hashem told you to do the mitzvah, that's why you do it. I'm not doing the Brit Milah because it's healthy to do it. I'm doing the Brit Milah because Hashem told me on the 8th day I do it. All the scientific reasoning for this, that's only supposed to strengthen the faith afterwards. But to rely on that and to think that's your faith, Hashem Ya'achem. Emunah, it's hard, especially in today's generation. Rabbi Nachman says,
and then Rambam would argue that a lot of stuff in Chassidus is
Totally.
heretical.
In retrospect, though. You have to see it in retrospect.
Everyone is seeing it in different. Everything's good. Everything together.
Right.
Without Hashem. To draw all the levels together, huh? To Hashem Yitbach. That's a tzaddik, Moshe Rabeinu. So Bezrat Hashem, Sheniske, we have the merit. Attach yourself to the tzaddikim, to Rabeinu, to all the true tzaddikim, to come close to Hashem, to serve Him with simple faith.
What I say with Rambam, like I hate saying what someone would say because he didn't live at that time, so I don't want to say Rambam would say anything about. But that's what, from my understanding, I don't want to
think
put
Rabeinu-
words into Rambam's mouth.
It's insane, yeah. Rabeinu says actually in Chaim
He
Oran.
would. I don't know what he would do.
Bro, who knows what anyone would do, right? I think Rabeinu says in Chaim Oran, Rebbe Nathan writes that Rabbi Nachman ascended up on high and actually had an argument with the Rambam over all his teachings. And they had a very big discussion, Rabbi Nachman had a very big machloket with the Rambam and Shemaim.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Dude,
It's
tell
in
me
Chaim
what
Oran.
teacher said.
No, that's not right. But I can't.
His teacher
Right,
said. his
And
teacher said
the
that Rambam
recording.
brought all
Okay,
that.
chazak.